Coming up on the pod, we're back, baby. I'm talking about my trips to Raleigh and Charlotte. I got a bunch of travel stories, things that pissed me off, things that were awesome. I'm firing this episode, okay? And I want you to come see me live also. I'm doing a bunch more dates through the end of the year. The week you're watching this, actually fucking the day you're watching this, I'm going to be in Cincinnati at the Liberty Township Funny Bone tonight, the day you're watching this or listening. And then Columbus the next night. That's October 19th, Columbus. And then Orlando. I'm finally coming back. Never went, actually. Finally going for the first time because of the hurricane. The makeup show, October 29th. It's a Sunday, Orlando Improv. And then I go to Omaha, November 8th, I believe. Yep, November 8th, Omaha. November 9th, Kansas City. Take your time on this part, Will. And then Hartford, Connecticut, November 16th. And then Boston, November 17th through the 18th. 3 shows a weekend at Laugh Boston. Arguably the biggest shows of my career. So if you live in Boston, or if you know someone in Boston, or if you've ever been to Boston, come to those shows and support me. It's going to be fun, I promise. And that's all I got. And I'm very excited for the episode. And let's cue the song. Let's go, dude. Look at us. We're back. I took a week off, okay? Let's cut right to the stuff, right to the meat of what's going on, okay? I took a week off. And in podcasting, that's unprecedented. You took a week off? What are you nuts? Oh, you must not care about us. You must not care about the podcast game. No, man. I actually care about you guys a lot. Probably more than you care about me. Because you guys are all I have, man. But I took a week off. I did 10 weeks in a row of this beautifully produced podcast. Shout out to Mike behind the ones and twos. I don't even know what that means. What are the ones and twos? Mike, do you know what the ones and... Why do they even say that?
That's a cooler question. I don't know.
I thought you had that. I figured there's just a number 1 and a number 2, and that's all. The whole board is just that.
I got a 3 and 4 over here.
Hey, dude, Mike's behind the 3s and 4s. We're here doing a podcast, and yeah, man, I just took a week off. I didn't have a ton to talk about because I've been off the road, so I don't want to come here and just waste time. I'd rather come here with a point and a purpose, and I just wanted to take a week, man. I don't have any sponsors yet, so no one's on the hook for anything. This is all me and you guys, so took a week off. Just want to let you guys know about that. And something random that happened in that week is I did this. This is a funny time to address this in the first few minutes of the episode, but I did this post on my Instagram story about how people on the internet think my name for a long time was Wilbur Cart. And I posted about that, and it was like some of the most engagement I've ever gotten on anything I've posted in my story on Instagram because so many people really thought that my name was Wilbur. First name Wilbur with 2 L's, last name Cart. I don't know why they thought that. I don't know why you default to Wilbur with 2 L's. You don't look at the name and go, oh, well, it's probably Will, because Wilbur with 2 L's is not a name. Nevertheless, Cart, that's my whole last name? You think my last name's Cart? Mr. Cart? And people loved it when I talked about it because people really were like, yeah, dude, I thought this for a long time. And I can't believe it. Granted, you see the username all in one thing together, but, Wilbur? And, of course, now that I said it, people are fucking commenting on my Instagrams like, oh, man, Instagrams, by the way, 50 years old. Commenting on my Instagrams that they're like, oh, Wilbur, wow, this Wilbur guy's really funny. Oh, wow, Mr. Cart really killed this one. I was like, fuck. And I'm making it worse by talking about it here. And this podcast gets 1 million listeners, so that's a bummer that I'm keeping the Wilbur story going. But just wanted to point that out just because I still can't believe that people thought that was a real thing. But my name is Will, and I can't believe I had to say that. But look, man, your boy Cart has been off the road, man. I was off the road for like 2.5 weeks. And to some of you guys are like, oh, okay, that's nothing. And it's not a lot of time, but also it was so much time to me. I've been doing kind of every other week, maybe, 2 on, 1 off, and then I'm back on the road. And I've gotten in this rhythm, really the whole year, of just consistently traveling and doing shows. And so I had this is like some of the most time off I've had, and it was weird, man. That first week was nice. I was chilling. I was relaxed. I was enjoying being home. I was doing spots in town, really having a good time. And by the second week, I was like, man, I am like, get me out of here. I want to go back to some Holiday Inn Express in North Carolina. Like, that's where I feel weirdly comfortable. It's weird because it's such a short amount of time, but I really was getting antsy. Like, I've just developed this rhythm of coming back, enjoying a week, and then going right back out, right? And it's nice to also be able to do an hour-long set is also really addicting. You come back into town and I'm doing 8 minutes, 10 minutes. It's like, all right. One time I did 5. I was like, what do I even do for 5? That's like, I say, hi, my name's Wilbur. What else am I supposed to do? 5 minutes. So I just I was so excited to go back, man. Just back on the road. I went to Raleigh and Charlotte. That was the trip coming up. It was a Tuesday, Wednesday, which Tuesdays are just, I've talked about it a few times if you've stuck with me through this whole podcast. Tuesdays are tough, man. Tuesdays are probably the hardest day to sell, other than a Monday. If I'm getting a Monday, I'm like, I may as well just not go. So I did Tuesday, Wednesday. We did Tuesday in Raleigh and Wednesday in Charlotte. And I want to talk about this one aspect because I really enjoy doing kind of a deep dive on stand-up on this podcast because a lot of people just don't know some of the things that goes into it. For example, this whole idea of what's called getting the counts. That's what it's called, which means essentially getting the numbers of how many tickets you've sold, right? And how it's been working, at least, is now that I have an agent, my agent's assistant will send me, for a while, he would send me weekly ticket counts of all the shows I have for the whole year, basically. So I can see kind of the progress I'm making, how close I am to selling it out, and just really good information to know. But also, some people don't want that information, right? Some people want it all the time. Some people want it never. They don't want to know because it maybe freaks them out, gives them anxiety, and they just want to show up and just do the show, which I think is a cool way to do it. But also some people want to know like all the time. They want to know every minute what's the ticket counts at, right? To the point that it probably would be annoying to the club if they're asking so much, right? And I've struggled with this for a while because my whole value in my career is not only, it's kind of like 3 things that I get value from in my career. Number 1, it's the laughter, right? The amount of laughs I get on jokes. And number 2, it's kind of how many views my videos get online. And number 3, ticket sales. That's how I know how this whole thing's going. Ticket sales are arguably the most important thing in my life. Because if I go to a city and sell 10 tickets, that's a problem for everybody involved. For me, the club, my agent, everybody. If I go to that club and sell 300 tickets, that's huge. It benefits everybody. Everybody's happy. So it's really high stakes. And especially at this point in my career, as I'm building and I'm going to these places for the first time, I of course feel a little bit of pressure. I'm with this big agency. It's my first tour. It's this big thing, right? So I always am really, really concerned about ticket sales, which I think makes sense after kind of how I described it. And for a while, I would want ticket counts like constantly. I remember one of my first big shows was in San Jose, and I mean, dude, the last 5 or 6 days, I think I asked for counts every day. The last 6 days, I wanted them every single day. And I don't really know why. I think I just, ticket sales were really good, so I was enjoying watching them increase and seeing you want to see how high you can go, which was so fun about now transitioning to clubs because it's such a high ceiling. You can do, 300-400 tickets. When I was doing the Just Us stuff early on, some of the rooms were capped at 100, 150. Shit. Sacramento, I did a 40-seat room. That I sold out 2 shows there in like a month. And so who knows how many tickets I could sell there. But now I have a high ceiling, right? So, and I've really toyed with different parts of getting counts. Like sometimes I get it maybe 4 days before, and then I don't want to know. I just am like, well, I'm going to keep pushing it and we'll see what happens, right? But what I've kind of landed on in this is I actually like knowing where they're at before the show starts, because it'll probably be a surprise one way or the other if I find out like night of, because I'll pull up to the show, set all the cameras up, and then I'll ask the manager. I'm say, yeah, hey, what are the counts? And I've had experiences on this tour where they tell me a number and I'll go, oh, all right, well, time to do the show. Or I've had it like in Nashville, for example, they told me a number and I was like, oh shit. Oh, really? But on the inside, I said. On the outside, I was like, yep, that's what I always do. That's how many tickets I always sell. But it's almost, I've realized the range of emotions to me aren't good for me, if that makes sense. I don't want any sort of big emotions before a show. I don't want I thought the tickets were going to be this and then they're way lower. How am I going to get excited for the show then? if I'm bummed, or if it's this big emotion and I'm like super excited now. That kind of happened in Nashville where I was surprised and I was like, holy shit. And I was so fired up and I didn't like my set. Even though I was fired up, I didn't like it. So I've realized I like knowing before I step in the building, maybe the day before, day of. I want to know so I can mentally prepare for better or for worse. I want to give myself some time to kind of cope with the disappointment or revel in the excitement for a little while and then focus on the show. So that's what I've landed on. And who knows, that could change. Who knows? But I think that's an interesting aspect of this whole game that I've never heard anyone talk about that before. Again, people in stand-up only are like, sold out, what's up? I'm like, yeah, but like were you ever nervous about it? At what point were you concerned it wasn't going to sell out? Like, I think that's interesting. So I just wanted to talk about that. And that could change also. Who knows? A couple months later, maybe I don't want to know. I don't know. Who knows? And if you're really popping, you can just check the website and be like, oh, it's sold out. Cool. That's nice. One day I'll get there, and I'm excited about getting to that point. But let me talk about the travel. Took a nonstop flight to Raleigh, right to North Carolina from LA, and man, dude, I've shout out to my people who have sciatica. My shit was barking, bro. My lower back and my hip hurting, dude. All the driving, the flying throughout my whole career, it's been tough, man. I'm in pain. It's tough for me, man. My right ass and hip, whoo, barking, woof, ow. Sucks, man. And you can't do much about it when you're in that seat, bro. You're just I'm in a window. It's like, what can I do? There's only so much space on American, whatever I took, Delta, whatever. Hey, can the TV give me pain meds? I don't care. I'm not gonna watch the screen that doesn't work half the time. Ouch. My shit hurts. Roof. I don't like it. Sorry, I'm already getting too fired up. I knew this was gonna happen. That shit sucks, man. And I've realized that like when you do stand up though, and if you're all in on stand up, you have to sacrifice multiple things. Whether it's money, whether it's relationships, friendships, time, sleep, your body. You got to sacrifice like at least 2 things, I'd say. I'd say 2 things probably you have to sacrifice. And I've chosen to kind of sacrifice my body and probably friendships would be the other one because I get a lot of sleep. Money, I'm fine on. I have a great relationship. And so I could probably see friends more. I don't see my friends a lot. I don't hang out with like non-comedy friends very rarely. So those are probably the things I've sacrificed. And to me, it's worth it. But everybody sacrifices something. And I'm okay with that. Again, if I have lower back problems, if my sciatic is barking, it's like, well, you chose this, man. This is what you wanted. Sometimes when I'm on a flight and it gets bumpy and I get nervous, I'm like, hey, man, you wanted to go on tour. This is what it is. Strap in, baby. Enjoy the clouds. Speaking of strap in, enjoy the clouds. Man, apologies if I get real fired up right now, but I was in a window and the person next to me wasn't wearing headphones on the flight. Mike's already cringing because anyone who's listening, if you have no headphones on a plane, fuck you. I'm sorry, okay? I had to get that out of the way real quick so I can cool off for the rest of the time. The lack of awareness is mind-blowing. And this person was doing, only the most annoying thing you can possibly do without headphones. Dude, she was watching like Snapchats and like the same Snapchat over and over and over with no regard of, there's a plane full of, I have no idea how many people are on a flight. 150 people? This is my world. And I'm not even thinking about anybody else. Blows my mind. And to take it up a level, you know what she did? She was on the Wi-Fi. She picked up like 3 FaceTime calls on a flight. FaceTiming. Like, yeah, I'm not, still on the plane. Haven't landed yet. Call you when I'm like, I couldn't believe it. I honestly couldn't believe it. Also, side note, if you FaceTime in public with no headphones, stop. Please stop. And that goes for speakerphone too. Any sort of speakerphone conversation, Stop. We don't want to hear it. Think about the people around you. And here's the thing, is when you're in that situation, I can't say anything. Well, I could, but I chose not to because we're on a 4-hour flight, dude. And this happened early. And I'm not about to say some shit because whatever you say, it's like, it's going to be a thing. There's no like great way to say it. You can be snarky. You can be like, hey, forgot your headphones, huh? Or you can be like, hey, can you please stop? There's no version that the person would be like, oh, because clearly this person is like not clued into reality. So anything I say to them, they're not going to be like, oh, wait, you're right. I didn't think about that. They're going to give some snarky, weird answer, and it's going to be a tense 4 hours for me. You know, I'm going to be shoving elbows the whole time. You know, I want to get up. I got to climb over them. Who knows what she's going to do? Blast me with the little stupid air thing? I don't know. So I'm not going to say anything. And I just exhaled deeply. That's about all I did. I just did a lot of, that was all I did. That was in my, remember when I said fuck you earlier? This is what I actually did was, that was all I did. In those moments, I really want to go snitch and tell a flight attendant. I really do. If I'm on a plane, dude, I'll snitch. I will. I'll rat on everybody.
See something, say something.
I'm saying. I'll snitch.
Airport rules.
Yep. Didn't say anything, but I should have snitched. Snitched, gone into witness protection. I'm ratting on everybody. Everybody's going down. 34C, 16B. Y'all are all going down. I'm snitching. Trial of the century. Well, I'm living in fucking Boca Raton under some other name. Probably Will Burkart. Honestly. But I didn't do shit. And this sums up who the person was also, is she was so unaware that the only interaction I had was she got back from the bathroom, sat down, and looked right at me and went, hey, is your Wi-Fi working? Not even, actually, no, she didn't even say, hey. She said, is your Wi-Fi working? And like, this is our first interaction. And I don't know, I feel like you guys will understand. Like I heard her, right? I heard her, but I still was like, I double tapped my ear and was like, excuse me? And then she was like, you have the Wi-Fi working? And I was like, no. I was like, no, I'm not on it. But the fact that like you think that I had to like do the double tap on my AirPod to pause the thing that I'm not listening to just let her know that like I'm not available. I'm not that available. I'm not just waiting to be talked to. You can't just turn to me with no, hey, excuse me, were you able to get on the Wi-Fi? You just go right at me and go, is your Wi-Fi working? No. I'm going to pretend like I didn't hear you the first time, and you're going to repeat when I'm actually listening, right? Drove me nuts. And sometimes, this is going to be a hot take. Maybe I'll cut this out. Sometimes I discriminate people in the middle seats. Okay? Because I'm like, you weren't savvy enough to get a window or an aisle? It's not that hard. You can't shell out $15 to get a window? Oh, you printed your boarding pass? Ugh. Yikes. I'm just saying. No disrespect, but also a little disrespect. Hot take. Try to do some editing on the plane. That's always weird as shit. Because I'm editing stand-up clips, and the person next to me always looks at the computer, and then it opens up all sorts of shit, right? Because essentially, this is what's weird is like, it's like telling someone I'm a comedian. Because when you tell someone you're a comedian, you're basically like, hey, I think I'm funny. Now when I'm editing, it's like, look, I'm editing myself. Look how funny I am. I don't know. No one's thinking that, but this is exactly what I don't like, is that I was editing a video of myself, and that person, the you got Wi-Fi? That person, I could see her look at the screen and look at me to like screen me to like do the math of, oh, you're the guy on with the microphone talking to people, huh? And I hate that. I hate that feeling. Ugh, dude. I don't want you to know. I don't want to see. Weird flight, dude. And then I get in the Uber, And the dude is like playing this weird podcast, windows down on the freeway, going 80. I'm like, hey, I didn't pick Uber convertible. Can people think about the people around you, please? Crazy. No one's like, hey, do you mind if I roll the... It's like, oh, I'm just going to do whatever I want. I'm going to do whatever I want. So you figure it out. Wild. All right. That's the travel segment. I'm gonna cool off for a second. If you have also any weird travel stuff, please like put in the comments and comment more stuff on these. I want to know if I'm alone in this. I feel bad about the middle seat comment. I'm fucking around, right? You guys know what I'm saying. I'm just alone here, trying to come up with silly things to say. I stand by what I say, but also, I'm goofing around. But I don't know about your guys' travel stories too. So feel free to hit the comments, and subscribe while you're at it, and like the video and rate it on the fucking Spotify and Apple Podcasts or wherever, please. That's like, please do that if you enjoy it. Even if you don't, man, still hit it. Who cares? It's just me here. It's just us.
The people who have to bring back a specialty food from a city. So if I'm in Chicago, I'm bringing a pizza on the plane that's like fresh from somewhere, or sandwiches from New York Deli or something. Those people are weird. Like, you can get stuff shipped. You don't need to bring a hot pizza onto a plane and fly 6 hours and then have that with you to share with someone.
You've seen with a pizza box?
Oh, I've seen it.
Yeah, that's tough. That's tough. Even eating food on the flight's also tough. Like anything, any like specific intense food. Like I saw this awesome box of sushi in one of the airports, and I was like really wanted it. But you know why I didn't get it? Is because I'm thinking about the other people around me, because I'm a considerate person. I'm not to open up a whole thing of salmon belly and fucking yellowfish and just scarf it down in front of you guys, because you guys probably don't want to smell fish on this flight, right?
Or the fact that pizza in a pizza box, it's kind of open air. It's traveling sick. You wouldn't eat a slice of that, no matter what pizza it was.
What, were they offering it to people? Why do they have a whole box?
I'm assuming they wanted to share it with family who never had Chicago-style pizza. So I'm flying to L.A. with my deep dish pizza to share with Nana that picks me up at the airport.
That's so
You just exposed that pizza to like 6 hours of people, 8 hours probably with...
Dude. Also, can I make a hot take? Is that second hot take of the day? We can do a hot take counter. Can we do that in post?
Ding.
Thank you. I lived in Chicago for 4 years. I don't like deep dish pizza. Okay? And it's a hot take, and it's just the whole thing is cheese. I don't want a cheese casserole. I want pizza. Give me a crust and cheese, a normal pizza. I don't want this weird, soupy, cheesy, disgusting mess. I feel like shit after I eat it. I'm sorry. You can have it, dude. If I go to Lou Malnati's, if I go to these places, I'm getting thin crust, okay? Ew. Mike, I'm sorry. I'm sure you like deep dish, but too much cheese. Less cheese. Also, funny pizza story, by the way. This is how fucking savvy I am, and how I was about to say how much better I am than all you other motherfuckers. I'm kidding. But what I mean is one time I was a kid and I went to the movies and I snuck a pizza in to the movies, and I was so savvy that I sliced it into slices and put it in plastic Ziploc bags and put them in my cargo shorts. So I had a full pizza chopped up in Ziploc bags in my cargo shorts. And yes, I was wearing cargo shorts. Did girls like me? No. Do they now? Who's to say? I know one does. But I was eating my little pizza out of Ziploc bags. Savvy. Not getting middle seats. Wearing headphones. Not that hard. Even passenger. Roll the windows up. Please. So I got to Raleigh, and dude, it was a Tuesday. Tuesdays are tough. I've done 2 Tuesday shows. I did one in Louisville. I sold, and I'm gonna always keep it real with how many tickets I sell. I don't really give a shit. That's the point of this thing, is to always keep it real with you guys. I sold 52 tickets in Louisville on a Tuesday, and that was pretty good because Louisville, I was like, I don't know anyone here. Or no, I have no fans here in Louisville. And then Salt Lake, I sold like 104, which was awesome. That show was sick. That show was, the clips I posted from that were the Mormon clip where I was asking the guy who was Mormon questions, and the guy whose name is Jaron, the weird name guy who his mom was a fan of Michael Jordan, and the story that made no fucking sense. That was from Salt Lake City, if anyone was curious or interested in that. So Tuesdays, again, I'm like, hopefully 100 at this point, right? And I had two options of clubs I could do. I could either do this club called Good Nights or the Raleigh Improv. And I chose to do Good Nights because it's a very famous club. It's a very kind of swanky, hip club, and I've always wanted to do it. And the Improv is also gigantic, and it's a Tuesday. So I think Good Nights seats like I think it's 300 actually. But then the Improv's like 400, 450. I'm like, dude, I can't. I'm going to sell 100 tickets. What degree of sadness am I okay with? You know? I'll take the smaller room. And what I've also noticed about these shows is like almost every club manager I've dealt with has been cool. Like cool as shit. And they're all like young. They're like in their 30s, maybe late 30s type of dudes and ladies. And everyone's just cool, man. I feel like there's maybe this old guard that's changing over from these old school club owners that were kind of like, what's the word? Like rickety? No, not rickety. I'm losing. I don't know what word it is. Just a little like out of touch and just kind of bitter, right? Those type. You can picture the club owners I'm talking about. But it was just these young, cool people that I swear I've done so many clubs recently where I'm like, I could be friends with this guy, like the boss, right? Who has the power. I'm like, this dude's awesome. And it makes it really fun. And I've gotten really lucky with some cool people. And so the guy Good Nights was just a buddy, just was cool. I just really enjoyed hanging with him. And I was with my buddy Nolan Culver, opened for me on these shows. He was on the podcast a little while ago. He's just my favorite person. Dude, I don't think I have better chemistry with like anybody. Me and that dude, we just yap for hours and we're laughing and we're getting deep. And it's just I really enjoy that guy, man. And he's going to come back on the pod. And yeah, just enjoy. It's just cool when you have an opener that you're genuinely good friends with. And he lives mostly in Seattle. It's a weird sentence. He lives mostly in Seattle. He splits time between LA and Seattle, but he mostly only lives there. And so I don't get to see him much. So we kind of just have an excuse to hang out on the road and just having a blast with him. Just a blast. And going into the show, I bought a new microphone setup. Mike, this is for you to know if you're interested. I bought a new mic setup. It was I got a wireless system where I attach to the camera and the soundboard, and it all syncs up. And the goal is to get the mic audio. That's my goal. Is all the audio you're hearing in clips right now is from a microphone like attached to the camera. That's essentially getting all the audio that it's facing. And I want to level up, right? And so I got a mic where I want to hear the actual audio from the mic, so it's a really good quality. And boy, and I could really only learn how to do it like on the job. I had to just get to the club and kind of learn how to do it at the club, and it was not great. Got to be honest, trying to figure out a whole new system like before the show started. It was not great. It was pretty stressful. Didn't really work, and that was it. I just got this thing, didn't end up using it. The sound guy ended up, I think, recording the audio on his thing and gave me. So I ended up getting really good audio, but my whole system was like, dude, I was fucking with it for so long, and I just was like, all right, fuck it. I guess we're just not gonna use it. And then the show started 15 minutes later. Not great. Not a great way to start the show.
Got to bring it here so we can test it.
I know. You're right. I should. I mean, of course, I didn't run it by like the captain of the 3s and 4s. Could have fucking asked him. So ended up selling, I think, 94 tickets, I think, which I was happy. Wanted 100, hit almost 100. I was happy. But I always say this. I always ask how the club feels about it. I'm always like, hey, how do you feel about that? And they're like, yeah, cool. This is great. I remember the guy at Good Nights in Raleigh was like, yeah, I would have been pumped about 50. And I was like, sick. If you're happy, I'm happy. So the vibes were good. Tell you what, though, man. Shout out to people who came in Raleigh, but also, y'all were a little tight. As a crowd, man, it was a little tight in there. Nolan went up and did some time in front of me, and that dude's funny. And he was like, not getting big enough laughs. And I was sitting back there watching. I was like, why is this crowd not laughing more? What's going on? And sure enough, they were just a little tight. I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was because it was a Tuesday. I don't know what the vibe was, but they were just a little like you had to really work to get them. And look, the show was great. I had a great time on stage. There were some super fun moments. The clip I got from that was the fire science guy. So if you watch that clip, that's from Raleigh. And it was a good vibe, but it was just a little off. Something was off. And that hypothesis was confirmed when not a single person bought merch. Not one. On average, maybe I'll do the math will probably be like 10% of the crowd will buy merch. You know, let's say I sell 100 tickets, maybe 10 people will buy merch. Maybe probably more like, maybe less, could be 6. 6 is cool. But no, not one person. Had all the shirts there. One of the shirts I think is fun and funny and it references a joke. I don't want to give it away, but if you come see me live, you'll see it. And I'm proud of the merch. I work hard on getting it embroidered and, I work hard and not one person who came out and saw me on a Tuesday bought anything. And that's fine. Times are tough, I think. And it's fine. But I was just surprised. And I don't think it's ever happened. In touring for almost a year now, not one time has that happened. So overall, the show was fun. And some of those people were super great. I feel like I saw also some boyfriends there that got fucking dragged there. That's what I saw. I saw a couple boyfriends standing near the merch table, not pumped. And not meaning like they were just waiting for their girls to get out of the bathroom. And they were like, can we get the fuck out of here? This TikTok boy, I'm done with this shit. Like I work on a farm. Okay. Get me out of here. No, I'm not going to buy your silly merch. And I'm like, hey guys, hey, it's like, that's what I felt. And I could be wrong. And I don't want to, make fun of these people because honestly, it was a fun show. People were awesome. Just a little off. Just a little off. That's all I'm saying. No disrespect. Love the club. Can't wait to be back. Had a great night Tuesday night. We had a nice little hotel. Nolan and I hung out and talked for a long time Tuesday night. And I actually, dude, this is going to sound crazy, but I figured out, we were talking outside of the hotel, just chilling, decompressing. And I literally figured out like the real reason that I like doing stand-up. The actual reason, not just making people laugh, but I figured out the deep core reason of why I like it. Through therapy, I've realized that, I have pretty bad OCD, and this is no surprise to anyone who knows me. And I've talked about it early on when Kaylee came on. And, my OCD basically stems from uncertainty and lack of control. For example, I don't really like shaking people's hands because I don't know what's on their hand. Could be dirt, sweat, poop, boogers. Who knows what's on your hand? I don't want to shake your hand because I don't know where it's been. And by the way, boogers, that's my favorite word. Boogers is the funniest word. Boogers? That just sounds funny. Poop is not as funny. Boogers, hilarious. I need to work boogers into my set somehow. If you come see me live and I say boogers, this is the start of it. So again, it's the uncertainty of shaking someone's hand, right? So that makes my OCD flares up. Flying is tough for me sometimes because you have zero control. No control of the situation. And it's a little uncertain. Like when you're bumping around up there, you're like, I have no idea what's happening. No idea. And also doing improv, right? Like I remember I did improv in college. For a while I did improv and I didn't really like it. I like maybe making people laugh, but I didn't like being a part of a team because I don't know what they're going to do. It's completely uncertain how they're going to perform. Are they going to be funny? Are they going to be tired? Did someone just go through a breakup? I have no idea, right? So I don't like the uncertainty of that. I like having the control. And so in stand-up, you basically craft these jokes, and the goal is to basically get them to work to a certain degree every time. That's the goal of getting doing jokes. And if I do a joke at one of my shows that you come see me at, I'm pretty sure that joke will work to a certain level. I'm fairly certain that it'll work to a certain level. There's varying degrees of how it'll work, but it'll get to at least the lowest degree. And that certainty is why I'm comfortable doing stand-up. I have control of the situation, and I'm certain to a degree of what the outcome is going to be. And that makes me feel comfortable. I am in control of the situation. I'm not up there fucking around. I have a handle and a grip on the situation. But, of course, crowd work is different because that's super uncertain. And you don't know what this interaction is going to be. You don't know what's going to happen, right? But, again, I have the control. I can handle the situation because it's just me up here. I don't have to rely on anybody. If I'm going to succeed, it's going to be because of me. If I'm going to fail, it's going to be because of me. And I like that control feeling. I'm not relying on anybody but me. So lack of uncertainty. I think that's why I like doing stand-up. Then I went to Charlotte. Took an Amtrak from Raleigh, woke up Wednesday, took an Amtrak train. First time we took a train. Boy, I wish we could do that more. Love a train. Amtrak, dude, put me on that thing for 8 hours. It was so nice. It was so nice, man. But I kind of fucked myself because I saved a bunch of editing. For some reason, I made a decision. I was like, oh, I need to put out a clip tomorrow. And I like frantically was editing from the Raleigh show the next day on the train, like frantically editing to try to get it out the next day. And it was and I like stressed myself out for no reason, which I'm really good at. I'm really good at stressing myself out. And I also got the counts for the show in Charlotte, and I was really underwhelmed, kind of bummed with how many tickets I sold in Charlotte, because I thought I was going to do pretty well there. It was a Wednesday. So on Wednesdays, you know, I'll average, I don't know, like 150, something like that on a Wednesday. And the counts were like 90-ish. And I was like, fuck, man. So I had the stress of trying to get this clip done. I had the kind of the bummed outness. That was what I was going to say. I kind of like it. And not to mention, dude, I don't know if I've really talked about this, but because I've realized, dude, when you're on tour and you're a headliner and you're at my level, I have to handle everything myself. What I mean is everything from the travel to meals to times I need to be places, Ubers, rental cars, trains, everything. Everything is on me. If I have an opener, they don't do anything. They hold my hand and I take them around to places. And I say, okay, we eat here now. Okay, go do stand-up for 20 minutes and then I'm going to go do stand-up. There's no one helping me. And sure, I could hire an assistant or a tour manager, but I can't afford that right now. I don't want to waste my money doing that. Because look, I got it. But it's at times, man, really overwhelming. I mean, I remember being on that train just like, all right, like it's this time. I got to be at the club at this time. I need to eat. Where are we going to eat? Once I get it to eat, we need to get to the club, do the microphone test again to try to make it work. Oh, and then we have to go to the hotel, make sure we check into the hotel. We have the one room and get this. And then, okay, what time do we have to wake up to get the flight and then the shuttle? And dude, it's maddening. And all while I'm booking travel for future dates. So I'm in this moment trying to figure out every little detail of everything and also being like, oh, in a month, I need to pick up the rental car from this place so I can make it to Boston for the shows and then drop it off, go to Hartford. This was the one trip that I was like kind of losing my mind. I was sitting in the Charlotte green room like, fuck, man, I am like in a weird place. And not to mention bummed with ticket sales, dude. I sold like 95 tickets. And of course that's good to a degree, especially with a guy that has never been on like a big show or a big, this podcast hasn't blown up yet. So it's pretty good for the level I'm at. But I've now come to expect a certain standard. I think my lowest Wednesday show was like 140 or something. And I remember 140, I was like kind of bummed. So look, man, I was bummed. One idea, because we're going to talk about the nitty gritty of this, because this is what this podcast is all about. I run Facebook ads, which I think I'm sure a lot of you have experience with, because it's a great way to market yourself, because it goes on Facebook, Instagram. It's just a great tool. And I did a test where I wanted to try to spend a lot less on Facebook ads to see if it mattered. If that makes sense. Like kind of like a control test to see, oh, let me just spend about half and see if these fucking ads really work, because I don't know if they actually work or not. I've been doing them and then a certain amount of tickets are sold and I'm like, was it because of the Facebook ads? I don't know, but I'm not about to risk it and not do the Facebook ads still, not spend the amount I've been spending because what's going to happen, what's going to happen is basically what happened in Raleigh and Charlotte. I sold like not a lot of tickets. And the only excuse I can come up with is well, A, maybe I don't have a huge fan base there, which is totally cool. But B, maybe because of those Facebook ads, man. I don't know. So to be completely honest, I'm going to spend a lot more for the shows next week in Cincinnati. Well, the week you're listening to this, Cincinnati, Columbus, spending a lot more to see if it makes a difference. So the little inside baseball for you guys about what I'm doing. And I'm just being honest, keeping it real with you guys. So it's a weird thing, man, to be basically in a green room before the show starts and not be excited. I wasn't excited for the show, and that fucking sucks because it's a fucking dream come true to be where I'm at, to be headlining a comedy club where people paid to see me and they're excited, and I'm sitting in the green room like bummed and not excited, and that's a shitty place to be. because I feel bad because I'm like, I should be grateful to be here. And this is what I've worked so hard for every fucking day. When I wake up in the morning, stand-up is like the first thing I think about. Well, I should just say my career. My career is the first thing I think about, right? And so it was a bummer, man. And luckily, the crowd was fire. It was as if they knew I was going through it. They knew I was in the trenches, and they got me out. Shout out to the people in Charlotte, man. You guys fucking rocked. I don't know if you're listening or watching, but you guys were awesome, man. It was like, here's an example of how great this show was, and by the way, the Comedy Zone, that club, that is built perfectly. It's like a basement. The ceilings are low. It's so fun. I talked to this couple in the front, and sometimes when you talk to people about their relationships, or anything for that matter, but usually it's relationships, they don't give you like good or helpful answers. They're always like, how long have we been together? I don't even remember. Where was our first date? I don't remember. How did you propose? I think I was at a place in a bar. It's like, sometimes you're like, God damn, bro, give me something good here, please. I'm sweating up here, you know? I want more control of the situation. I have OCD. But man, I talked to this couple, and they were fucking crushing it with their answers. Oh my God. It was as if we planned this. It was just this beautiful, it wasn't even like the funniest interaction I've ever had, but they were so sharp. It was as if they were like in a deposition for like a lawsuit. They met at a Subway where the girl was a sandwich maker and the guy was a customer. Already funny, by the way. What a funny way to meet. And they had their whole story down like a science. Dude, the guy remembered what sandwich he ordered. Are you kidding me? Be at every show. It was so cool, dude. They knew every little detail. This was like 7 years ago, and they knew what they were thinking in the moment. They knew what happened after. They knew the feelings, the emotions. When he texted you, what did you think? This was 7 years ago. I spent so much time on them because it was so perfect, dude. It just was this awesome collection of people that really were like there for me in a way. And after the show, the meet and greet, people were so cool, man. They bought merch. They were complimentary. They signed stuff. It was the coolest vibe, man. One of my favorite vibes of people that I've met doing this, man. Charlotte was really, really fun. I got a really interesting thing also where someone was like, wow, I'm like, this was such a deal. Like, I can't believe I spent $25 and got to see you. And that was really nice, man. All these little moments really mean a lot to me. And it was just a really special show, and just taught me, man. It's like you got a job to do, buck up. It's gonna be fun, and go out there and do it, man. And I did the best I could, and the crowd, they were just awesome, man. And I did also at some point feel myself getting kind of like, I was mentally pretty fucking tired at that point. Towards the end of that set, I was like, oh my God, I'm like beat. Even though it's fun, I'm like, I've been dealing with a lot right now, and I started losing him a little bit, and I remember Nolan was there. He could even sense that I was like losing steam. The crowds are so smart. They know. They know if you're sick of a joke. They know if you're not having fun. You rather really be in the moment, man. And so I had to kind of wake myself up and finish the set. And so all in all, it was great, man. It really was such a positive trip. And what's nice also is that I'm going right back out on the road. You know, I'm back. I'm recording this on Sunday. I'm going back out Tuesday, and Nolan's going to be with me. We're doing 2 cities back to back. And it's like, I'm excited because I'm already in the rhythm. Like, I'm like, going, let's go. We already know the system. He knows what to help with. I know, a little bit more what to work on, I did this thing where I built myself an itinerary. So I literally mapped out, by the way, I have to be the only comedian that does shit like this. I would put money on it. I literally give myself an itinerary of what time I have to be everywhere. I looked at food places, what food places to go to, what coffee places, times for everything, so I can just look at it. Here's the addresses for the hotels. Just go. So I don't have to be in the moment like, So hopefully that'll help me feel a little less overwhelmed. We'll see, because the next episode, I'm going to recap that trip, so we'll see how it goes. But anyways, man, shout out if you came out to the shows. Again, I was giving shit to the Raleigh people, but I really wasn't. They were fucking awesome, but I felt it was a little tight, so I got to make sure you guys know that I appreciate you, as well as the people in Charlotte. And look, man, the ticket sale thing, it's going to be a ride, and I have to be conscious of the fact that this is such a long game. And I've talked about this before. This trip, I really caught myself living too much in the moment. And you're supposed to live in the moment. That's what everyone tells you is live in the moment, live in the moment. But also like you got to zoom out a little bit and be like, oh yeah, I'm going to be doing this for a while. This is my first headlining tour. And this is almost verbatim what I've said before. And I've brought out Matt Rife a few times on this show. I brought him up because I saw one comment that was like, you bring up Matt Rife a lot, you better know him. And I was like, well, regardless, he's like the biggest comedian in the world. He's like a frame of reference for multiple things, especially because he's putting out clips too. So the reason I'm bringing him up, and the reason I bring him up is because I got a reminder of what a long game this is again, because the manager of the Good Nights Club was like, oh yeah, dude, I remember, Matt Rife came here, 2 years ago and, sold 80 tickets. And that fired me up. Because I was like, yeah, man, that can happen. You can go from selling 90 tickets on a Tuesday to selling out theaters a couple years later. And that's what's fun about this game. And that's why I'm so lucky and grateful to be a stand-up comedian in this time where you never know what's going to happen. And thank you guys so much for going on this journey with me. I really appreciate it. And I'm super grateful to everybody who comes out to shows, watches this podcast, listens to this podcast, watches the clips, all that stuff, man. I am only able to do this stuff because of you guys. I don't have a big thing that people know me from. It's just me and you guys. And that's why I called the tour originally the Just Us Tour, because it's just me and you guys. We've built this whole thing together. I have someone helping me book the clubs now, but it's still just us. And it always will be. So thank you guys for listening and watching. I'll be back next week. I hope you have a great rest of the week. Be safe out there, whatever that means. And yeah, dude, next week, recap Cincinnati, Columbus, Ohio, baby. Fingers crossed. Please like and subscribe, rate, review, all that stuff, dude. Shout out to Mike for producing on the 3s and 4s. It's your boy Wilbur here, and now I'm gone. See you guys later.